morning, Asia. Good evening, America. You're watching World DNA with me, Raisha Saigal. On the show today, India's Lok Sabha elections heads towards its penultimate phase with 57 seats up for grabs in 8 states and 2 union territories. We'll, of course, be tracking that very closely with our reporters fanned out across key locations in India. A lot more lined up on the show today, but first, a quick check on the headlines. "58 constituencies in 6 states and 2 union territories in India go to polls in the 6th and penultimate phase of the general elections. Keen eye on all seats in capital Delhi and 1 seat in Jammu and Kashmir. UN's top court orders Israel to immediately halt its military offensive in Rafah. Israel says it would continue what it calls a just and necessary war. Palestinians say they need application, not declaration. Egyptian president agrees to allow UN aid through the crucial Kerem Shalom to Gaza. El-Sisi and Biden hold telephonic conversation on the Gaza issue. Reports of aid supplies for Gaza rotting in Egypt. World Health Organization chief says pandemic agreement talks not a failure despite ending without a deal being reached. The talks aims to shape a global agreement on handling future pandemics. Northwest India now 1 week into heat wave with temperature crossing the mid-40s. Sindh and Pakistan nears 50 degrees with power cuts adding to woes. World number 1 Novak Djokovic's preparations for French Open suffers yet another setback. The 24-time Grand Slam winner gets out of the Geneva Open in the semi-finals. India is holding its 6th phase of Lok Sabha elections. Voting is underway as we speak, and here is everything you need to know. Take a look.
The fight for the lower house of the Indian Parliament has reached its 6th and penultimate phase. 429 seats were contested in the first 5 phases. The 6th phase will see voting on 58 more seats across 6 states and 2 union territories. Let's put this on a map. All 7 seats in Delhi and 10 in Haryana are up for grabs. Voting in Jammu and Kashmir's Anantnag and Rajouri was slated for phase 3. But was delayed after objections by the ruling party. Both places will have voting in this phase, and the hope is that the turnout will be high like the rest of Jammu and Kashmir. After this phase, voting will conclude in the Union Territory. Elections will continue in the rest of the states that go to the polls in the 6th phase, like Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal. Let's look at the key faces, starting with Delhi, that is definitely in the spotlight. The Indian National Congress and Aam Aadmi Party have a seat-sharing formula. In the 7 seats, AAP has fielded candidates on 4 seats and the Congress on 3, all against the BJP. Interestingly, the BJP won all seats in Delhi last time. This time, the competition is expected to be tougher in New Delhi, with BJP fielding former External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj's daughter and the AAP naming lawyer-turned-politician Somnath Bharti against her. The Congress has put up Kanhaiya Kumar in northeast Delhi, who is likely to have an uphill battle against BJP's celebrity face Manoj Tiwari. BJP leader and Union Minister Rao Inderjeet Singh is hoping to continue his victory run from Haryana's Gurgaon. a satellite city on the outskirts of Delhi. Against him is actor-turned-politician Raj Babbar of the Congress. In Uttar Pradesh, a fierce battle is expected in Azamgarh, where the cousin of Samajwadi Party's President Akhilesh Yadav will take on the BJP's candidate, actor-singer Dinesh Lal Yadav, who is looking to retain his seat. In Jammu and Kashmir, former Chief Minister and the PDP's Mehbooba Mufti is aiming to enter parliament from Anantnag Rajouri. She is facing Mian Altaf Ahmed of the National Conference Party. Coming to logistics, 1 million polling stations have been set up for the elections, with 15 million polling agents and 5.5 million voting machines. Voting starts at 7 am local time and ends at 6 pm. So if it happens to be your turn to vote, go out and cast your vote. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
The United Nations top court has issued a strong ruling on Israel's conduct of its war in Gaza. The International Court of Justice ordered Israel to immediately halt its military operations in the southern Gaza city of Rafah, further increasing international pressure on Israel over its war against Hamas. Well, in a case brought by South Africa accusing Israel of genocide, the latest decision marks the third time this year that the 15-judge panel has issued initial orders seeking to rein in the death toll and also reduce humanitarian suffering in Gaza.
The court considers that, in conformity with its obligations under the Genocide Convention, Israel must immediately halt its military offensive and any other action in the Rafah governorate which may inflict on the Palestinian group in Gaza conditions of life that could bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part.
The ICJ has ordered Israel to open the Rafah border crossing for humanitarian assistance. It has said that to preserve evidence, Israel must allow investigators access to Gaza. The judges added that Israel must submit a report on all measures to implement the court's order within 1 month. Reading out the ruling, the ICJ court president said the fears expressed earlier this year about an operation in Rafah, they have materialized. He says the destruction of the city will further intensify if Israel continues with its operation. The judges said that they are not convinced by the evacuation efforts and measures that Israel affirms to have undertaken to enhance security of civilians in Gaza Strip. The ruling, however, did not call for a full ceasefire throughout Gaza, as South Africa, which has historic ties to the Palestinian people, requested last week. Pretoria, however, welcomed the order and urged UN member states to back it as well. Hamas has also welcomed the order, but the militant group says it expected the decision will be for the entire Gaza Strip. The Palestinian ambassador to the UN hailed the decision as he stressed that resolutions of the ICJ should be implemented without hesitation and Israel should abide by the ruling immediately.
I hope that an actual ceasefire will occur and that Israel will respond to the resolution, because Israel does not care about anyone, whether it is the Court of Justice or any other countries, despite the fact that most countries have turned against it. Even Netanyahu said that neither a court of justice nor anyone else can stop the war on Gaza.
Saudi Arabia also welcomed the decision by the World Court. The Gulf Kingdom says the decision is a positive step towards the moral and legal right of the Palestinian people. But they have called the decision to be extended for the rest of the Palestinian territory as well. Lebanon's Iran-backed group Hezbollah has accused Israel of disrespecting the international resolutions. On the other hand, Israel has condemned the ICJ's ruling. War Cabinet Minister Benny Gantz said that the decision is an abject moral failure, as the court failed to order the release of hostages and did not acknowledge Israel's right to defend itself against terror. Reports are also emerging that Israel's ally, the US and the UK, will reject the decision after slowly blurring their red lines that once stated that they could not support a military offensive in Rafah. Now, shortly after the ICJ ruling, residents of Gaza and Palestinian media reported that a series of Israeli airstrikes hitting roads and homes in the Shabora neighborhood of central Rafah. And for more on this, we're now being joined by Stephen Golub, who is a lawyer and a political analyst. And Mr. Golub is joining us live from California. Welcome to the show, Mr. Golub. I want to first start by asking that the ICJ has ruled that Israel must immediately halt its military operations and other actions in Rafah, and has also asked Hamas to release the hostages. How significant is the ruling, and what do you make of it?
It's significant in that it indicates Israel's increasing international isolation in terms of diplomacy, in terms of legalities, in terms of politics, in terms of geostrategic considerations. It will not make a difference, as we're seeing, in terms of Israel's conduct of the war in Gaza, and specifically regarding Rafah. The government and the population of Israel feel that they should go full speed ahead with those attacks. In terms of the legal substance of the ruling, I'm of two minds. Well, really, I'm of 10 minds, but I'll try to keep them to just two. On the one hand, yes, there are valid humanitarian considerations to try to mandate that Israel take better care to protect the Palestinian population of Rafah in particular, and Gaza more generally, including not just regarding military matters, but food delivery and the like. On the other hand, I think you can understand, or it's possible to understand, that Israel, having been attacked in a particularly brutal, barbaric way by Hamas, and Hamas still vowing to destroy Israel and to attack again if it ever gets the chance, Israel feels compelled to go after Hamas, which is hiding behind, or really below, in terms of tunnels, below the civilian population. So it's a very difficult situation in terms of both the legalities and the morality of it. But I can understand the ICJ stepping in. There's one more caveat I want to attach to this, that from Israel's point of view, and I think this is a somewhat valid argument, this is a bit unusual, or somewhat unusual, for the ICJ to take action regarding this type of situation, given the other humanitarian and human rights situations going on around the world, regarding which it has not taken action. But in an absolute sense, again, this is an extreme situation we're seeing in Gaza.
Right. Mr. Golub, 8 months into the Gaza war, and Israel has still not achieved its two goals, that is to eliminate Hamas and to bring back hostages. You speak of how this is an extreme situation and the ICJ has not taken any other steps in such an extreme manner in any other nation. But do you still think that Israel is being singled out as it flouts the World Court order repeatedly by not providing basic requirements to the Palestinians in Gaza?
You know, I think it's being singled out, but I'm not saying it's wrong that it's being singled out. In that the ICJ is using its influence, using its legal mandate to try to afford better protection to a really drastic human rights and humanitarian situation. So again, I'm afraid to say I'm of two minds about this, but I can understand Israel's point of view in terms of it feeling singled out, but the ICJ's point of view in terms of making this ruling.
Right, Mr. Golub, also talk to us about how this ruling has put the U.S. In a conundrum, as Washington is stuck in terms of whether and how much to support Israel as the humanitarian crisis increases in Gaza.
Yeah, the U.S. and the Biden administration in particular is stuck between a rock and a hard place in terms of wanting Israel to restrain its conduct and having issued warnings to Israel to do so. But on the other and having political imperatives in terms of losing some votes in the November election of President Biden versus Mr. Trump if Israel continues along this path. But on the other hand, strong political arguments and strong political forces in the U.S. wanting the Biden administration to support Israel wholeheartedly. So it is, as you quite rightly said, a conundrum, both in terms of strategy and in terms of policy, and for the Biden administration, for President Biden in particular, the politics of this. This could hurt his re-election efforts.
Mr. Golub, just a final word on genocide, because today's ruling is a part of a broader lawsuit brought by South Africa last year, accusing Israel of genocide in Gaza. Explain to us, what impact will the World Court ruling have on that?
It's a step towards a possible ruling regarding genocide. Personally, I feel that such a ruling would be unfair, unjust, and not legally accurate, in that Israel has not taken steps to wipe out the Palestinian population as a whole, or deliberately in a significant regard, notwithstanding the massive losses of civilian life in Gaza that has taken place. So I think genocide would be a step too far, even if we do want to justify what the ICJ's rulings in other regards. On the other hand, we also have to keep in mind that there are persons within the Israeli government, two leading cabinet ministers in particular, who have made noises, who are supported by forces who are advocating really the expulsion of Palestinians from the West Bank and Gaza. And that, again, may not be genocide, but that is really quite a violation of international law and any sense of morality.
Well, Mr. Golub, thank you so much for taking our time and joining us here on WION with your insights on this historic ICJ ruling.
Thank you.
Moving on. Scorching heat in most part of North India this week was evident beyond the scorching and rising temperatures. Parts of Pakistan are bearing the onslaught too. The rising intensity has become more glaring over the last few years, and it has taken a toll on animals and public health. Take a look.
Daytime temperatures into the mid-40s, searing hot desert winds, unrelenting ferocity of the blazing sun. The mercury climbed past the 45 mark several times over the last week in the Indian capital.
We can't bear the heat, it's very high temperature.
The heat is so harsh here that when the wind comes, it feels like someone is slapping your face.
Due to the heat, the poor face a lot of problems. It is very hot outside, especially this year.
Delhi is used to high summer temperatures. It's the growing length of the heat wave each year that's hitting hard. 7 to 10 heat wave days have been forecast for this month, compared to the usual 2 to 3 days. The capital, indeed all of North India, have been in the grip of it this last week. Red alert was issued for Delhi, Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, parts of western Uttar Pradesh from the 20th through to the 25th. To blame, fewer non-monsoon thunder showers and an active but weakening El Nino. Hot westerly winds blowing in from Pakistan also contributed to the heat. And the bigger picture of climate change. It's not much better in neighbouring Pakistan. Punjab and Sindh are worst hit by the heat wave here. Notable also are geographical features that extend to both nations, the Thar Desert for example. Pakistan's Jacobabad city, considered one of the hottest places on earth, grappled with a severe heat wave on Friday, with one regional meteorological centre forecasting temperatures to be between 48 and 50 degrees Celsius. Authorities have said that due to persisting heat wave conditions, daytime maximum temperature is likely to remain 6 to 8 degrees above normal in various cities in Sindh province. Frequent power cuts added to woes.
It is very hot here in Jacobabad. We run fans through solar energy to combat the heat, and we also spray ourselves with water. There is no proper arrangement of power here. In 24 hours, they are providing power only for 7 hours. And during these 7 hours, they continue tripping the power for 15 to 20 minutes to 30 minutes. It is like we have no power at all.
In Kerala and Tamil Nadu in South India, it swings the other way. The Met Office has issued strong rainfall warnings. Most districts are under orange alerts. Red alerts have been issued for Idukki, Palakkad and Pathanamthitta. Perhaps the most awaited event of India's weather calendar, the southwest monsoon, is slated to make landfall on the 31st of May. Ultimately, that's all that matters. For agriculture, for the economy, for life.
The job market is showing signs of a shift. While competition for open positions remains high, a new trend is emerging: the rise of ghost jobs. Well, these are online postings that appear real but may never be filled. Our next report telling you more.
The job market is undergoing a significant shift. Following the Great Resignation, a period of high job openings and worker leverage, the pendulum has swung back. Employers are facing a tighter labour market with fewer open positions and a rise in competition from qualified candidates. This has led to a concerning trend: the prevalence of ghost jobs. These are job postings that appear legitimate but may never be filled. Data shows a concerning decline in the hiring rate per job posting, falling below 0.5 in 2023. This means for every job advertised, less than half result in a new hire. There are several reasons companies might post ghost jobs. Some may be outdated listings for filled positions that haven't been removed. Others are used strategically to build a talent pool for future needs or to project an image of growth and dynamism. However, the impact on job seekers is undeniable. Research suggests over a third of UK job postings in 2023 were ghost jobs, defined as lingering online for more than 30 days. This can be a major time sink for applicants who invest significant effort in crafting resumes and cover letters for positions that may not even be open. The abundance of ghost jobs can lead to frustration and discouragement for those seeking employment. Job seekers are adapting their strategies, focusing on niche roles with fewer applicants. While ghost jobs may provide short-term benefits for employers, the long-term consequences can be damaging. Job seekers who experience repeated application silence may be deterred from future opportunities with that company. Transparency and clear communication are crucial in today's job market. Business Bureau, WION World is One.
And with that, we call to wrap. Thanks very much for staying with us. You're watching WION World is One. Stay tuned.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
This week on Inside South Asia, foreign tourists attacked in Afghanistan amid the Taliban versus Islamic State Khorasan war, a nation caught in the dark ages. Nepal PM Prachanda's unending game of musical chairs continued waves of instability in Nepal's politics. North India and Pakistan simmer under a fierce heatwave, extended spells of hot weather in South Asia the new normal. And India makes a mark at the Cannes Film Festival. This and more on Inside South Asia.
Namaste. Hello friends. We did Dr. Subhash Chandra show, popularly known as DSC show, for 4 years, from August 2014 to August 2018. 28 states of Bharat. Of course, we reached out to all of you in 190 countries across the world. The show was very successful. Each episode was being watched by almost 25 million people every week. For past 6 years, the demand of the show has never died down. People write to us, people ask for the show to restart again. Hence, we are beginning the show once again on All Z Network, also on WION, which is the global network channel from India. Again, thank you for your love and affection. See you soon at Subhash Chandra Show.
Shock and panic in the Democratic Republic of Congo as the army foils a coup attempt and arrests 50 people, including 3 Americans. After Niger, newly elected Senegalese Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko now calls for an end to French occupation and even criticizes the presence of the French military in the West African nation. And the kora, a Western African stringed instrument, makes a resounding return thanks to Gambian artist Sona Jorbate, Wild of Africa, at these times only on WION.
This week on the West Asia Post, world mourns the death of Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi after the deadly helicopter crash.